Hello, 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 and welcome everybody. It's super nice to see so many of you here. Absolutely incredible number of people, and it's just so nice after a summer where hopefully it's been a bit restful. Remember, in a world where we're being exploited and ground down all the time, rest is an act of rebellion. So hopefully you've been resting, having some time to recharge your batteries. But it's just so nice to see so many people. I'm here because I care. I don't like seeing what's going on in the news from around the world and at home. I believe in better, something fairer, something kinder, something healthier, something more alive than what we have now. And I believe that action is good medicine, and doing something about the way we feel is a really good thing to do. So I want to welcome people who've been involved over the weekend in the global fight to end fossil fuels all around the UK. It's been epic, and hopefully we're charged up and ready to get into things. Before I go too much further, I just want to say we're hoping to make this call really accessible for people. We've got the amazing Marie, who's doing BSL with us this evening. Marie is awesome. And we've also got closed captions enabled for people who need that. If you've got any issues, technical issues with the call tonight, please PM direct message one of the open call crew, and they'll try to help you out. And if you're okay with it, please stay muted for the call. That helps it so everybody can hear. But for now, if you're up for it, please just put in the chat who you are, where you're from. Just say hello and do a little shout out for that, please. That would be really nice. And yeah, once we get going into the main section of the call, we'll ask you then to stop putting stuff in the chat so we can keep it clear for questions if you want to put your questions in there, and also to make it so that if anyone needs help, we can spot who they are. I also just want to check and make sure everyone realizes this is always a question that comes up. All the important stuff that's going to come out this evening will be sent out in a follow-up email, and all the links will be shared, and you'll be able to find all the information that you see tonight on that. I want to put a big shout out for the Rebellion broadcast and the Movement broadcast. I don't know if anyone knows what those things are. They're on Telegram and on our platform Mattermost. Those are places that you're going to be able to find out the information that you need to know about everything that's going on in Extinction Rebellion UK. So please join into those and keep an eye on them. That's where the action's at. So I'm just going to take myself a little breather and go and introduce the open call crew. So my name is Etienne. I'm a rebel for a long time. I actually right now I'm at my parents' house in Bedford, but I'm going to pass over to Brian and see how Brian is doing.
Yeah, hi everybody. So I am a member of the UK-wide operations team. I'm good. I'm so happy to be here and to have so many people here. And I'm currently sitting in my car at the Calais Eurotunnel terminal coming back from holiday. So I can only apologise if my signal isn't up for this, but hopefully it'll be all right.
Cool. And the next person on the list, I'm just going to have to find it. Who is that? Where's my list gone? Oh, my word. Here we go. It is Rob. Yeah, Rob. How you doing, mate?
Hi. Yeah, I'm good. My name's Rob. I am in the one of the coordinators of the UK Actions Circle, and I am at the moment moored up in rainy Camden. Yeah, back to you.
Cool. And next, Dandelion. How are you doing? And where
I'm good, thank you, Etienne. Hello, everybody. Nice to be here. I'm ex-London gardener and also working on the community assembly project, and I am sitting in my flat in southwest London. And back to you, Etty.
No worries. Thank you, Dandelion. And on to Kat.
Hi, I'm Kat. I'm part of the UK Rebel Hive and here tonight as part of UK M&M. I'm in slightly drizzly Lincoln this evening.
Maze balls. And last but not least, we've got Woody. How you doing, Woody?
Hey, Etty. I'm good. I am representing Creative Circle here this evening. I'm currently in Hampshire in the southeast of England and looking forward to seeing some of you at Southeast Rising at the end of the month.
So thank you everybody again for being here. We've got a lot of participants. I'm just super stoked to see you all. I'm going to spend a little bit of time looking through all the names to see who I know, but it's super great. Anyone who's new, welcome. It's so good to have you here. The good people in this room, we're going to make a difference. And that's what this is all about. Over the summer, lots and lots of stuff has been happening in Extinction Rebellion, and there's stuff going on, progressing to strengthen our organism. And the UK circles, the UK-wide circles, as they're sometimes described, are existing really to provide what local groups need. So what the local groups are the lifeblood of our organisation, and we all want that to work better, be more effective and more powerful. And so lots and lots of work has been happening, and that's what this evening is going to be about. So Brian, I'm going to pass over to you to kick off the presentation, and yeah, over to you.
Thanks, Marine. Okay, so what is XR doing right now? What's our strategy? What's our theory of change? This is going to be a quick overview to get us started. I'm just going to do a little hand signal for every time I want you to click, so we go through this slide. So let's go for the first one. So we have 3 demands to make of the UK government, so starting with the basics there. And we believe that only sustained massive civil disobedience will work. But small groups of protesters don't create government policy change. Mass movements do. And we clearly do not have enough people in XR to achieve this right now. And continuing civil disobedience with spicy NVDA without sufficient numbers is not going to suddenly achieve a different outcome simply because we keep doing it. We need to do it with much bigger numbers. But just as important to be successful, we need a wider spectrum of people joining us to have any real effect on changing government policy. So this means we need to break out of our activism bubble and go beyond to groups who maybe have different views to us, but need to be part of our movement. And that's what this movement strategy is trying to achieve. That's what we're working towards. So centrally organized actions like the big one do have their benefits, huge benefits, but their ability to scale is limited, and we can't achieve our goals that way. So the next big one needs to be co-organized by the whole movement. And that means you won't be turning up to the next big action, to an event that's been organized by a UK-wide circle. You'll be organizing your own small but important part of something much, much bigger in unity with the rest of the movement and with our allies. And we're not going to achieve that overnight. We have to build towards it. And we cannot yet say what it's going to look like. I think I may be one behind, apologies. So yeah, that's it, that's the end of the slide there, so just pause on that. So we cannot say what it's going to look like. And this might feel uncomfortable, not having a single mass action in the diary to look forward to. But that's okay. It's okay to feel uncomfortable about this. And it's okay because XR is so very, very alive and active across the UK. That's already obvious. And we're only just getting started on telling that story. So over the next few months, we're going to be looking in the UK-wide circles, we're going to be looking for the intersection of themes, actions, campaigns, and alliances that are gaining the most momentum. And then we're going to nurture that so that the next big one evolves organically, designed and driven by the movement, supported by the UK-wide circles, and growing into something much bigger than anything we could ever achieve centrally. Next slide, please. So I am the internal coordinator of the Operations Circle, and the Operations Circle is a sub-circle of the Hive, and we're mandated to implement the movement strategy. We have 9 amazing sub-circles, and that includes the UK-wide Action Circle and the UK M&M Media Messaging Circle. And ultimately, Ops, the Operations Team Ops, is here to support you to take action and organize in the most efficient way possible. It's your movement. That's the key message here, and we're your Operations Circle. So we're here to serve you the best we possibly can, and we are here to say yes. So when it comes to the role of the movement, there are 5 areas that Ops is suggesting and encouraging local groups and community groups to focus on. But that's without dictating or wishing to exclude anybody who's doing their own thing or who has a better idea. So these 5 things I'm just going to run through now, and they fall into 3 groups: resilience, broadening our base of support, and diversifying our movement. So firstly, we need to be more resilient. We need to be able to self-organize so we can return to the streets in force with a truly collective, decentralized action. And to achieve this, we all need to be organizing locally. That's number one there, in order to flex the rebellious muscle of hundreds of autonomous XR groups. And our outreach needs to recruit for our own local actions. And that's in order to bring the people we really need into a pathway that will really hold them. A few people turning up at your next action are more valuable to XR than loads of lurkers on our UK mailing list. So in the second section, we need to broaden our base of support. So we need to widen our support to include the silent majority so that we're impossible to ignore. And that means reaching outside of our usual bubble. So to achieve this, we need to take actions that resonate in our communities and enable us to start conversations with people who are outside of our usual bubble. And local groups and community groups, we're looking to them to form alliances in order to give XR's goals and methods credibility with these new audiences. And then finally, we need to be more diverse. We need to mobilize non-majority identity communities so that we can claim to truly represent the people. And to achieve this, we need to proactively reach out to communities in order to diversify our base of support. So the UK-wide Operations Circle is running a series of projects and work streams, about 50 in total at the moment, designed to support the movement in achieving all of this. Most importantly, perhaps, rebuilding the Rebel Toolkit to be much more accessible to make sure that the most useful guidance, training and resources is readily available to the whole movement. And we're also working our way around all the nations and regions to help communicate what we're doing and why. So if you do want to know more about any of the work that's going on in Ops, just let us know. Hand over to Rob now.
Hi there. Okay, so I'm going to talk just briefly and specifically about actions and what we're doing in terms of actions, what we're kind of encouraged to happen in the movement. So you'll see here from the slide, there are no immediate plans for a big rebellion. That doesn't mean that there isn't a huge amount of planning and fertilizing the ground, let's say, so that a new mass action can occur. But obviously, we want that mass action to occur in a way that is much more collaborative and with a huge diversity of voices added on top of the amazing work that was done for the big one and all the years before. So we need to wholeheartedly focus on the work of building up these bases of support in local areas. So the way to do that is to make space for local actions and to elevate and connect local actions that are really resonating. That's how we're going to get ready for the moment of mass sustained resistance. So exactly as Brian said, it might to begin with feel uncomfortable, but we need to lean into that and build it up. And I think, you know, we're in just as a movement, we are in an incredible position right now. And I think we need to be really proud and excited by that. It's another thing. It always happens after big rebellions. Every single time, everyone goes, oh, well, what did that achieve? What's going to happen next? But actually, if you look around the world right now, you type in Extinction Rebellion into your news feed on whichever browser you use, you'd be hard pressed to find a day over the next 30 days in which an XR action isn't happening somewhere around the world. There were over 20 actions in the UK in the first 9 days of September alone. So XR is really alive. But we've got issues here, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, which is about visibility and how to really show that. So first thing is, what are we going to do around the country? There's the first slide here says the Community Assemblies Action Campaign. Dandelion is going to speak to that next, so I'll pass to her in a moment. But first, just going to talk a little bit more about what we're going to do over the next few months. So first thing I would say is collaborate. If it feels really daunting, reach out to your regional and national anchor circles, your gardeners, and other local groups near you. What we're doing is these synchronized days of action on the last Saturday of every month between now and February. What's really good about this is it means we have a date. There's never a moment where you say, oh, well, what am I mobilizing for? When's the next thing? We always have a date. We have a date this month and we have a date next month. And it's always the last Saturday, which means you just need one flyer and you can keep printing it or you can customize it, of course. What's also great about this is it's synchronized. It's local and it's UK wide. But also, of course, if you have dates that are important to your community or important to other groups that you're working with, you don't need to also do something on the last day of the month. However, if you can, that's great. The other thing to say about this is really important. Don't panic. It doesn't need to be different every month. It doesn't need to be massive. It doesn't need to have 12-piece orchestras, although that would be nice if you have it. It needs to be simple and repetitive. That's better than a complex one-off that takes all of your energy. And then you wonder why everything didn't change. Think Greta. Think about the school strikes. Began very, very simply, and the impact built and built. As more people heard about it, more people were involved with it, just slowly, gently, keeping the work up, the work that groups are already doing. That's why the strategy has been built, because it was receiving a lot of feedback about works that groups were doing, but they weren't seeing reflected. So this is trying to reflect that. It's not trying to add anything new. What you're doing is great. The only other thing to say, though, is it is a different pace. Trying to do something every month, just because we've decided that, is a different pace. So we have to work sustainably and be inventive. So don't get stuck in how you did things last year when we were doing something else. Say yes to new ideas if it will help you come back next month stronger. Focusing our actions on these days, it's going to amplify our impact and provide more opportunities for new or smaller groups to participate, and it's going to support alliance building. We found with the big one, it's very hard for other movements to get involved with an action first time. And we did it with the big one, huge amount of work, but since the big one, there's been much more readiness for collaboration. So this is a way to build on that. First time, maybe people will come and check out, see what it's good for. XR's got a bit of a reputation thanks to the right-wing media, but this is a way to show in the local community, we're there and we're going to keep being there, doing the work, transforming our communities. And resistance is a part of transformation. Repetition is important. So it doesn't matter whether you're doing it at the end of every month if you can't do it that time, or you've got other dates that are important to you. Repetition is really great. So keep it up. The other thing about don't panic is steal good ideas. You don't need to always be super inventive. There are going to be more and more of the old actions that have been used on the Rebel Toolkit over the next coming weeks, but also you'll have been part of great action ideas. You'll have seen them on the Telegram. You'll have been a part of them. You'll have seen them in rebellions. There's loads of other resources you can use. One great one that I've personally used quite a lot when I'm trying to brainstorm and come up with ideas is the Beautiful Trouble website. So I really recommend just looking for ideas and stealing ones that work. So what do you do on the day of your end of the month? Well, there's going to be a checklist that's going to help you think about how you plan it, but ultimately it's up to you. Think about an action that resonates locally. So your best place to know that. It might be one of the actions that's already out there: dirty water, housing rebellion, money rebellion. There's lots of different campaigns out there to choose from, and you can easily join them, use their templates, and get involved with those networks. So we want those local actions to be inviting and inspiring. And remember that directly targeting the public is a double-edged sword. We know it's a really good way to elevate certain phrases like Just Stop Oil or Extinction Rebellion, but we need to think in our local community whether it's appropriate. The public does, however, want us to be radical, and it resonates with them when we take the fight directly to the climate criminals, and there's a lot to choose from. So we're saying spicy is good. It's back on the table because we want to be unignorable. And that's going to bring me on to my next point. Erica Chenoweth has this quote that it's not small actions, but mass movements that make change. But it should be understood that the perception of a movement's size is created not only through occasional rebellions or big ones, because we know that those are also prey to a sense afterwards of, oh, and now what? Did it do anything? You know, is the movement going to die now? What's going on? You know, that happens every time. It's very tedious, but it's quite funny. But the other way to really make the perception of a movement's size, which we know is how actual political change happens, is being incessantly visible on the local and UK level. So we need to push the conversation around resistance, but we also just need to be visible. And that means putting posters in your windows, putting stickers on lampposts. It's printing off a symbol and putting it in your window, or stenciling it on a wall that you find, getting XR out there. One way to think about this is like the pride flag. When you walk down the street and you see an XR logo or a pride flag, you see someone who's part of a community, and it makes you feel safe. It makes you feel heard. It makes you feel connected, that there are other people like you who care or who are part of your community. It's really important. And in fact, I think it's a bit of a responsibility, because not having a poster facing out in your window, it contributes to the silence here. This is about streets of dissent. We need to show that there are people willing to take action everywhere. So put a symbol in your window. That's where I'm gonna finish up today. So I think I've said everything there about visibility and the coordinated days of action. I'm going to tee up to Dandelion now, who's going to talk about the Community Assemblies Action Campaign. It's incredibly exciting, this. There can be no climate and ecological justice without local democratic decision making everywhere. And this campaign is designed to do that. Over to you, Dandelion.
Great, thanks very much, Rob. Yes, so we've started a community assembly project, which aligns nicely with the 2023-2024 strategy. And it's one way for your local group to organize a day of action at the end of the month, for example, that focuses on your local issues. And it's important to growing alliances and going into your communities and showing people that they can speak up, are being heard, and have power. It's all part of the new XR tactics. Moreover, showcasing deliberative democracy through community assemblies will galvanize the interest in our third demand for citizens' assembly on climate and ecological justice. Assemblies are radical and are instrumental in giving power back to the people. Radical inclusivity has always been one of our principles and values. So involving ordinary people to make informed, important decisions and work together is key to ensuring solutions are fair and just for everyone. And now we are ready to share with you how we can link this with the strategy of coordinated days of action around local issues as something you can use to escalate your action with a clear focus or complement the work you're already doing. This is not something that we are also asking you to do. It can be something included in the 1 days of the month action. And we can demonstrate this strength of civil disobedience focused directly on our third demand and leading to occupying council buildings, MP or Metro Mayor offices. This is something I will explain a bit more later on. We already have 20 local groups signed up or are starting to plan throughout the nations and regions that are planning community assemblies, and we need your local group and you too to do the same. Let's really show them what democracy looks like. We have created a community assembly project working group, and we're working hard at the moment to getting experts together to answer your questions and organize more training on how to plan community assemblies, as well as how to facilitate community assemblies. We've already gathered a lot of resources and written a chapter in the Rebel Toolkit, and I believe the link will be shared in this chat and also in the follow-up email. Plus, we have also created a Telegram group called Community Assembly Sharing, which is actually all about getting together people that are already organizing or want to organize and have questions, and it's a community for you to share your experience and get questions answered that you might have. But now actually to the plan beyond the community assemblies, which Rob has already alluded to, which is the Community Assembly Action Campaign. And so community assemblies are part of a bigger plan for XR, and where we escalate from the local all the way up to Westminster. From organizing community assemblies to occupying uncooperative councils, aiming for a tipping point of local support that forces the conversation into Westminster. As I said before, 20 groups are already planning their community assemblies. And we just don't know what the tipping point is to get these talks in Westminster started. So it could be 10, it could be 30, but we have hundreds of local groups and it only takes a few. So this plan of the Community Assemblies campaign combines the more gentle, although no less radical approach of assemblies with the NVDA spiciness. It means there's something there for everyone to get stuck into. You may have heard about the local council occupation in Cornwall that are ongoing and are happening every 2 months when the council is sitting. And actually just a few days ago, there was council occupation in Bristol that got great local coverage. So it is a fantastic tool to show that XR is everywhere, made up of ordinary people getting on with the work of transformation. We need to keep this work visible, which is why the occupation of councils or local authorities element is vital. There are different local authorities with different powers, and we can help you work out where the pressure needs to be put so you can get on with making sure everyone local knows about it. And we are working on resources and we'll get them to you about which local authorities have which powers. And we'll be keeping this up until 2024 and then get together as a mass London action in support of the UK-wide Citizens' Assembly on climate and ecological justice. And hopefully we'll get it. Right, that was me, and I believe I'll hand over to Kat.
Yeah, thanks, Dandelion. So I am very aware that for rebels who are out there thinking about what they're going to do at the end of the month and ongoing, and when they're looking at what XR's doing in general, there's been a bit of a messaging void. Messaging should have been released in line with the various strategies that came out earlier in the year, but in a movement run by volunteers, things don't always go to plan. So we've found ourselves needing to ever so slightly reverse engineer some messaging onto the plan that we're already following, which is not ideal, but we're up for a challenge. For a long time, we've heard rebels saying, what is XR trying to say? What's our story? There's always a challenge striking a balance between all of the issues and events going on all over the place that are so important and we care about passionately, and our own identity as a movement. So this messaging pack is a real stab at trying to resolve both those things. It's messaging that hopefully supports and uplifts the incredible work happening all over the place, and at the same time tells our story. It focuses on two key points: rebel for truth and citizens assemble. So the first part, rebel for truth. This is about the lies that are being told about the climate crisis, about what's causing it and what's being done about it. This fits really well with the action strategy because you can almost guarantee that whatever issue you are mobilising around, there will be a lie and a villain in there in some form. If you've already got your messaging sorted for your end of the month action, go for it. You know what's going to resonate and inspire your community. But if you're not decided, or you just recognise the value in pushing in the same direction, then this messaging and design pack is a toolkit for you to use. Historically, we've sometimes made the mistake of pushing out messaging packs with 11 different banner slogans on, and that's great to have that choice, but we trust that rebels know what's going to work in their communities more than we're going to when we're looking at a UK-wide. And there's a power in hundreds of different disparate groups all sharing the same unifying message, no matter how different the issues they are facing are. Second part is Citizens Assemble. We're not the first group, or we won't be the last, to struggle to make messaging about citizens' assemblies sing. But again, it's another challenge that we're up for. The Overton window on citizens' assemblies has shifted massively in the last 5 years. They are now something that are being talked about a lot more, and all sorts of groups are popping up wanting to use them. But we are the only movement committed to demanding a citizens' assembly for climate and ecological justice, and using NVDA to get it. In a time where we are seeing nothing but greed and corruption and lies, something as reasonable as democracy starts to look revolutionary. So now is the time more than ever to really lean into our third demand. We'll pop the link to the pack in the chat and in the follow-up email. There's lots in there and lots more to come. There are flyers. The outreach order form will be going live in the next week, and they're already in a folder if you can't wait that long and just want to get them printed off and get going. Coming soon, there will also be the same flyers in Welsh, Polish and Hindi. When we talk about diversifying our outreach, we want to make sure that you're equipped with what you need to do that. If there's a language that you think would be useful in your community to mobilize and to engage, drop a message to media@rebellion.earth and we'll see what we can do about it. I know that the copy for the Welsh one from the marvellous Rebels in Cymru landed with me about 20 minutes before this call, so we'll definitely have that one done really quickly. There's some posters in there too. Rob's beautiful point about making XR visible, seeing it everywhere, whether that's putting a poster up in your window or being a bit bolder, going out, reigniting the Paint the Symbol campaign, whatever. The choice is yours. There's resources there for you. Don't underestimate how walking down the street and seeing an XR symbol in somebody's window is going to make you feel connected and part of something bigger, particularly if it's somebody you don't know. There's great strength in that. Also coming are social media graphics for you and your group, and this folder will continue to be added to. It's the job of UK M&M to tell our story and make sure that you're equipped to tell yours. So as well as the messaging and design pack, there are other resources. The Rebel Toolkit, which is just about to have a major overhaul to become the best activism handbook ever. So it's in a bit of a flux right now, but in there's already absolutely tons of information on how to do media messaging for your action, important considerations. As Elena has rightly put in the chat, don't forget your photographer, because a beautiful photo of your action can really spread it far beyond its original audience and really engage and inspire people. There's also the movement calendar, which you may have already heard about, maybe you haven't. It's something that we have been working really hard on and is going to be tied into a map on the website, so that as local groups and community groups share what they're up to, their actions, their events, their talks, their local group meetings, whatever they're up to, it will all go into one place, so that anybody who's in your area who's thinking about getting involved can just go on there, have a look and see all of the things that are happening around them, which is really quite exciting. So there'll be information about that in the chat as well. That's also going to make it a lot easier for UK M&M to pick up actions and things going on that resonate with our messaging, so that we can amplify them and talk about them and give them the oxygen they deserve. But making sure that you're equipped to do your job is also absolutely vital. And now that I hope you're feeling nice and inspired about feeling creative, I will pass to Woody, who will give you an idea of what you can actually do once you get out onto the street.
Hello. Creative actions. So we have, as a creative circle, we've put together what we've called a creative actions menu. It's an a la carte menu. You can pick and choose from it what you would like. There are a number of, there are main courses, there are starters, there are desserts, there are side dishes, and there is also a children's menu. There is sweet, mild and hot actions. And we've also included actions that have come from other non-XR movements as well, that we can learn from those. So essentially this is a document, a flat pack action menu of actions that you can take yourself for your local group or regional groups, or in fact individual rebels can do these as well, and you can create your own local action using this menu. The menu does not prescribe messaging. These are designed so that you can attach your own local messaging to those actions, or indeed you can incorporate the new top line messaging that's just been discussed by Kat in terms of the Rebel for Truth and the Are You OK With This campaign. So it's a flat pack how to, but it's not prescribed actions. When people are saying, what actions can we do at the end of the month? There are many ideas in here. Pick one of these that fits with your local messaging, something that people want to do, adapt it as you want. There are no rules about this. No one's precious about these actions. Change them. Let us know what you've done, and then we'll update this as well. So we'll put this on the Rebel Toolkit, as been discussed earlier. We'll share the link after this meeting. The document will grow, and will be added to as we go along. Add your own ideas in. Send them to us, to the Creative Circle. There will be a contact in there to reach us. And one of the things I think that's really important is the state have been clamping down on protest. And when the state comes down, we need to, in order to protest effectively, we need to get creative. So I have a little, I love this book. This is my Actions Bible. It's a wonderful book called Blueprint for Revolution by Popovich. I'll share a link to that as well. Every single one of the actions in this book happened under a far more oppressive regime than here in the UK. It's entirely possible to use creative actions to make a difference in your localities. And that's where Lego Rebellion got the idea from, for their actions. So there's lots of different things that we can do. I hope it helps you. The movement strategy and the action strategy says it's over to us in local groups and in regions to take actions and to create our own actions. So hopefully we've done something that can support you in your groups to do that, and we'd love to hear from you. And if you don't have anyone in your region connected with the Creative Circle, again, please get in touch with me. We'd love to hear from you. I think it's back to Etty.
Yep, I think it is. Thank you very much, Woody. Really found that really interesting. So thank you, and thank you for everyone's continued attention. I please want to invite anyone who's got any questions, drop them in the chat. We're trying to collect them all up, and I'm going to try and pick out a few that hopefully will give more information to more people on this call now. So yeah, really, I thought one of the first ones I would like to put out here is from Paula Reynolds, and this was around that there's a general election next year. Greenpeace is currently mobilizing for this, and what is XR doing around the general election? That would be interesting. Marine, I think you said you might like to talk about this, if that's okay.
Yeah, thanks, Etty. Yeah, I'm happy to have a go at that. And then if anyone else wants to add to it, then that'd be great. Hi, I'm Marine. I'm the internal coordinator for the Citizens Assembly Working Group. So there's, as Dandelion explained, there's a lot of work going on with the community assemblies where we want to escalate from the community to Westminster. I think we can all agree that whether we get a Conservative government or a Labour government, we are still going to have a massive problem. Try not to swear. But it's we know that the political system that we have at the moment is failing us. It is not going to be able to fix the crisis that we are facing. So we must focus on deliberative democracy. We must focus on people power. There are groups thinking about what we are going to do about the elections. There will be plans. We will be doing stuff, but you can be assured that the focus is going to be on deciding together. So that is with the politicians as well, but also us, the people in this country, because we know what needs to be done. We need to figure it out together. And we want fairness as the key to the decisions and the solutions to the climate and ecological crises, but also all the other crises that we are facing all at the same time. So that would be my response to that right now, that there is certainly thinking happening about that. If you want to get involved, get in touch with one of the Open Call crew. There is lots of thinking about that. Political circles thinking about it. Citizen Assembly working groups thinking about it. So there is lots of things to come. But for now, we really urge everyone to get going with deliberative democracy on a local level, and let's take it from there. I don't know if anyone wants to add to that, but that's it.
That was a great answer, Marine. Thank you. If anyone does want to chip in, go for it now. But yes, I think this idea of getting more people to understand the power of deliberative and participatory processes is the way that we can actually really challenge this system that is really not working right now. I have a question. This one is going to go to Dandelion. and it was from Nina Kakiroglu. Please apologize, my apologies, Nina, if I didn't quite see your name correctly. But it was a question around this visibility. How can we make ourselves more visibility, move out of this kind of club that is a small groups that are meeting on a certain day and getting out into the world? How can we make ourselves more accessible? People with limited IT access, mobility issues. Is there any good thoughts and ideas around that, making ourselves more visible?
Yes, thank you very much, Nina, for that question. It falls directly into my remit of the work of a gardener. That's what we do. I mean, I'm not sure if you are in the UK. If you are, I would encourage you to. I'll put an email address of the gardeners into the chat. We can answer this in more detail then. But one thing that we said and we've been focusing on since before the big one is the alliance building. We've seen that a lot of groups are now still working with other groups together. And so that means that XR local groups have grown quite a bit, at least where I am, and are working together with us constantly. So in terms also of the community assembly one, that will also be something that we encourage you to work with other alliances, may it be the Green Party or Greenpeace or Friends of the Earth or any other local movements that you work with, BLM and so on and so forth. So that's one way to get XR more out there. And I think some other things have already been mentioned to make XR more visible. And there's definitely also being out there on at least a monthly basis, even if it's just having a table with flyers in your local high street. That's a local action, a monthly one, and that will get people hopefully get excited again and join your local group. But as I said, in the Gardener Circle, we have quite a lot of ideas that would be too much for here to mention right now. But I will drop the email in the chat, and then hopefully we can get in touch with you and talk more about how we can make XR more visible where you are.
Thank you very much, Dandelion. Yeah, keep those questions coming up. There is a lot I'm going to try and work my way through. I have to say up front, we're not going to manage to get everybody, and I'm going to try and find ones that can pass more information on. There's a really interesting question about patches. Someone was saying, let me find this now. People love patches. This is from Joe. How can we get them to hand them out? And Joe saying, I wear mine on my backpack every day. And this is something I do know actually Rob has talked about in previous sessions, where it's actually saying, look, let's be proud of being rebels. We're doing something so good, so important, and something that is right. We should be proud. And if people want to come and speak to us and have a go, then we can use and practice our skills, hearing them out and then explaining actually the truth about Extinction Rebellion. But if I can come to Woody about this question, how can we get more people to have more patches, handing them out and all that sort of thing? Woody, over to you.
Yeah, we've got an art blockers chat where we supply all the designs for people to make blocks and how groups and regions can make those blocks themselves. So I would suggest that if you do not have the means to do them locally, then contact me. I've put my information in the chat already, an email and a Mattermost login, and we'll find somebody who is near you, or invite you to, for example, if you're in the Southeast, come to the Southeast Rising. We're going to do training for blocking there, and I would suggest that that's something that we try and roll out across each region. We talked about it. If we can find the people to do a pop-up art blocking training that can move around each individual region. Every region has got blocks somewhere, print blocks somewhere. It's just a question of them being better utilized and better distributed, I think. So get in touch. We will make sure it happens. This is the support we need to be giving people.
Cool. Thank you very much. And there's a question immediately there from Julia. Where and when is the Southeast Rising, Woody? We'll get that information. That will come out if you send a link or put something in the chat there. That'd be great. And again, let me remind everybody, lots of this information will come out in the follow-up email. I'm going to go back a little bit further now. Stephanie Foster posted a question saying, my big concern is that since we've all tried these strategies, they've done local talks, canvassing, leafleting, inviting people to actions. Their local group has actually got smaller and not increased. There's a lot of energy and time and effort has been put in. And so they are worried about these methods not working in rural areas like mine. And I was actually going to kind of make a little point about this, because one of my roles is I'm a coordinator in the Midlands, and there's vast areas of the Midlands are quite open and not very densely populated. I think this is a really important area, and perhaps what we could do is find ways of actually connecting groups up that are in these more rural areas. And perhaps there are already methods out there and ideas that have worked in other countries and other campaigns for mobilizing in rural areas, or maybe we can creatively come up with and test some ideas out. But the point is not to suffer on your own. If you're in a local group and you think you should be doing better, I want to say that all groups are doing their very best. Everyone's sweating blood trying to keep their group moving, trying to keep it growing. But the trick is to join up with other groups in your area, join into your region or your nation, get connected with other groups, and you'll realize actually many groups are facing the same problems or have faced them. And also we can get together and use our collective hive mind for coming up with these problems. So I just want to say, if you're in a group out there that's pushing but not growing, let's get to work together, let's think about it, and you're not alone. So I'm going to find another question. I answered that one myself. Maybe that's supposed to happen, I don't know. So I think Christina asked the question, can you give us an example of the end of month actions? And I think Woody kind of covered that in the kind of menu that he was talking about. But I also wonder if, Rob, you might have something to say about these ideas, because sometimes people don't quite know where to start with this idea of these end of month actions.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I do think Woody covered it with putting this those resources being there for everyone to use. So I think that's a really good way in. I also think what I said earlier about just connecting with some of the other groups around you, just having a bit of a brainstorm together. There's really no wrong answer. I mean, it's just taking action. But one thing that works really well is put up a board. Put up a board in your local community and ask the community what they think the most important thing is to do with them. See if you can also get talking about the climate and ecological emergency as well. But it's just a really, really good way to interact. It's a really low barrier to entry. I'd say don't do this at the end of the month, but start early. Whenever you've got an opportunity, maybe on one weekend, go to the high street, just put up a board, make yourself visible, put on an XR bib or anything like that, and start speaking to that. I think that's a really, really good way to just start and find out what local things are going on. You'll probably find that there's an XR campaign or something that is a bit adjacent to it, something we've done before. We've been going for a good while now. There's loads of actions that are out there. But the other thing to say is, if you are struggling, connect with your region and nation, connect with your gardener, connect with Action Circle on Mattermost, connect with Creative Circle. I'm going to put my Mattermost and number in the chat, and same with Woody's already done it. So there's loads of people here to help you. You are absolutely not alone.
Thank you, Rob. I'm just going to bring in, I've just spotted this was a good question. I don't know if anyone is able to answer. It's about the groups that we had during the big one. We had 220 groups from across the country representing all sorts of different angles and entwined issues with the climate and ecological emergency. There were so many amazing groups representing and being a part of the big one. Is anyone out in our crew here willing to talk about what's going on with those groups subsequently and how we're working together going on? Kat.
Yeah, we haven't got anyone from relationships on the team tonight, but I think I can probably speak to this one. So yeah, what we achieved in terms of alliances for the big one really was unprecedented. And as I'm sure you all remember, it took a long time of not hearing a lot for us to get there, because there was a lot of trepidation. Groups were really nervous about what we were going to do and whether we would do something different to what we said. But the fact that we continued with the big one. We did what we were said we were going to do, and it was a success. Meant that now all of those groups are far more willing to engage and work with us, and not just willing but keen to. And there's also more than a little bit of FOMO from certain groups who shall remain nameless, who didn't agree to stand alongside us at the big one, who kind of wished that they had, and are not going to make that mistake again. So our relationship circle are doing lots of work on that at the minute. Obviously, with the direction of the strategy and not knowing quite what we're building towards and what that's going to look like yet, does change things slightly, but there's still lots of great work happening there. And of course, that's only going to be added to and complemented and improved by all of the local alliance building that is happening out there with local groups, all of the grassroots branches of every different organisation that you're teaming up with. Their head office is hearing about that, and they know that that's going on, and that's all creating pressure and enthusiasm and excitement and determination to be involved.
Thank you, Kat. I just want to say, Marie, how are you doing there? You're doing an epic sign language effort. I just want to check you're okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay, I've got a question that has come in for Rob. And it was about questions around Greenpeace, and I'll open and get Rob back in to answer that one, Rob, if you'd be willing.
Yeah, so I've seen this in the chat, and it's had a lot of traffic on it. And I just wanted to say there's sometimes, I think, a misinterpretation around working with other groups. So Greenpeace is doing a campaign around the country called Operation Climate Vote. It's also the Green New Deal Rising working on it, and other groups as well. And what I would say to that is absolutely get involved. If you're part of your local Greenpeace group, if you're part of your local Green New Deal Rising group, absolutely get involved with that campaign. There is no reason why you shouldn't do that in your capacity as a human. Greenpeace hasn't reached out to XR sort of formally to try and get us to do that all across the country. They are doing it as their own campaign, and we want to respect that. But as an individual, please get involved with anything that appeals to you. So it's not for XR to tell you not to do anything or what to do, but we have our own campaign, and the community assemblies escalation plan is what we're pushing on, because XR is beyond party politics and has been since the beginning, and that's for a lot of really important strategic reasons that we don't have time to go into now. But just to say, XR's not here to say yes or no, or certainly we aren't. I mean, XR is saying sort of a big amorphous blob of decentralized people with great ideas. It's to say, yes, get on with it. If you've got a great idea, go and do it. Brilliant, that's amazing. And if you think that's a fantastic idea and something you want to get involved with it. Absolutely. There's a number of political actions going on at the moment, and I think, get involved with what you've got time for. But I'm really keen on the community assemblies escalation plan, because I think what we're doing there answers a couple other questions in the chat, really has the capacity and the potential to become a type of action we've not seen before, links all these groups together.
I just wonder, whoever in the leafleting department is, if we can get a leaflet that says, come and join our great amorphous blob with great ideas. And we can really get a lot of people to join up from that. I've got another quick shout out here. This is from Jacqueline, I don't know quite how I say your name, but it's actually not a question, but a plug. And I think it's really perhaps interesting for people here to know about. This is about the foundation program, the XR UK Foundation program. If you are kind of wanting to get involved with XR, or you're thinking about like, oh my God, this is terrible, what am I going to do about it? The foundation program is a super cool program. It's like a sort of quick but in-depth course telling you all about the basics and the fundamentals of XR, and also giving you lots of information about what you can do and different things you can get involved in. So the foundation program really will get you from becoming just someone who is, feeling that call into actually, I can really feel like I've got the skills and knowledge to be a really effective rebel. So big shout out to the foundation program. You can find out about that on all our channels. It's dead easy. So yeah, do get involved with that. I'm going to find another question now, and I think this would be, bear with me just a moment. Whoa, hold on, I've lost track in my chat. Bear with me. Here we go. Oh my word. Yes. Kat, I was thinking you was going to be able to put some of the links for the leaflets and messaging in the chat so that people can pick up on those if they want to, while I find another question. So I have a question here for Marine, another one, Marine, for you. Thank you very much for being up for answering these questions. Susanna, I think, is saying, please can Rebels save some of our energy for making sure we get rid of this government? And I suppose this is a little bit around this beyond politics thing that we've been discussing about tonight. But Marine, I was wondering if you could speak a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, thanks for that question. And yeah, I first of all really appreciate the regenerative cultures implemented in this response. Let's save some energy. We're in a marathon, guys. We're not doing a sprint. So yeah, let's be kind to each other and preserve some energy. But yes, to get rid of this government. I mean, I think the key here, and I think I'm risking repeating myself slightly, so I'll be brief. But our real mission is to incorporate deliberative democracy in the current system, which we really feel like will sort of have a knock-on effect on everything. So we're starting with the local, with the communities, whether on council level or more metropolitan levels. There might be groups wanting to target their mayor rather than their council. There's all sorts of options of local authorities that need to be tackled. And if we can show that this is working on a local level, we intend to escalate this up to Westminster to say, look, we are able to do this on a local level. This is what we need on the Westminster level as well, on the UK level. So that is the strategy. What exactly it's going to look like and how it's going to work, we're still very much in the process of planning. So people who are finding this exciting and want to get involved, please do, because we need lots more people. We need lots more ideas. So that is how we are hoping on doing it. As I said, getting rid of this government and replacing it by another government in the same political system that we've had for decades, well, hundreds of years really, isn't going to get us the change that we need. So we do need system change as well. And that's what we are saving our energy for. So please do get involved.
Thank you very much, Marine. And I think that actually speaks to a few other points in the chat and the questions that we're asking. Perhaps this government, perhaps this system actually is incapable of dealing with the questions and the challenges that we face. And our proposition is that deliberative democracy, these people's assemblies, citizens' assemblies, can actually provide a sensible and sane way out of the mess that we find ourselves in. And I think this is going to be really exciting to see in the next few months how we can get that idea out as the corruption and the challenges that mount we're not managing to tackle them. So I think we're just about towards the end of our time here. I do want to say thank you to everyone who posted chats in. It's actually quite hard behind the scenes to collect all of the different questions and to get them answered. So I hope that you will have enjoyed and found this call interesting. I hope that you will have found it inspiring. And I also hope that you will realize that there is no perfect answer to these questions. We just have to get together, connect with your local group, connect with other rebels, connect to your region or to your nation, start thinking about what is going to set light locally to the people around you in your communities, what is important to them, how can we get them thinking about how all these issues are tangled and twisted together and how we need more democracy to tackle them. I just want to say thank you to everybody on the call who talked and presented. It is quite a challenging job doing this. I want to say thank you to all the people behind the scenes. Massive shout out to Marie, legend. What an amazing job she's done for everybody. I think she's going to need to rest her hands after a little bit of this. And I want to just say, yeah, let's get to work. This is now the good times. Hopefully we're rested and it's time to get out there and take action. So please do stay in touch. Shout out. You'll get all the information in the emails. But for now, with love and rage, let's crack on creating the changes and being the changes that we need to see in our society at this time. So thank you, everybody. Good night and have a good rest of your evening. Goodbye, everybody. Have a nice evening. Take it easy. And don't worry, you don't have to worry what's in the chat. We will send all the information out. That will all go out in a follow-up email, and you'll get to find out everything that you need that's been talked about in this chat. That will all be in an email. Just checking everyone.